Hello everyone, my name is Vivek. In this video, we will see how we can implement error handling in Power Automate. The error handling mechanism is very important aspect of the development and Power Automate is no exception. So from time to time, things doesn't work out exactly as you expect in your flows. And that's where the error handling comes in picture. Getting notification or logging it into your list when your flows has failed because of an error is critical to maintaining business continuity. Also, it should provide the cause of an error to help you resolve it quickly. In this video, we will focus on how you can configure run after, an option that is available for flow action to help isolate errors. So let's start and see that in action. I have created one manual trigger workflow to implement this error handling functionality. If you can see, we have a tree block over here. Try, catch, and final. Inside try block, all your main actions related to your workflow should go inside this. In the catch block, all the error handling actions should be present inside this, where we are sending notification as well as logging the error inside the list. In the final block, all the actions which is required to run, irrespective of the issue in your flow, should be present inside this final block. So in the try block, if you can see, I have one action present. The get item. In this, I'm fetching an item with ID 1 from the list 1. And if you can see, inside the list 1, we don't have any item present. Then in that case, this will throw an error, and that's what we want. In the catch block, we have so many actions. If you can see, we have so many compose action present. We are using this compose action to capture all the details. Here we are capturing the error. Here is an error action. What is the here the error status code, error message, workflow instance, and at the end we are sending email to the application owner or the flow owner, and then later on at the end we are just logging this details inside a error list, which issue list, sorry, which we have created. We'll talk about the expression inside this compose action in a detail when we build out this workflow. Let's run this workflow and we'll see how it works. Let me manually trigger this workflow. So flow is running. Yeah, the flow runs successfully. But if you see over here in the try block, this particular get item action is throwing an error. So the because of which it went into this catch block. It ran all the actions, okay, and then later on it went into the final block, okay. Okay, so let me just check the email. So I got one email. So here if you see the email, how your flow error handling, this is my workflow name. Your flow error handling have one failed instance. Hi, you have one failed instance in this particular workflows. Please see the details below. If you can see the details, I have this error. What is the error exactly? What is the error code? The which action basically has thrown the error, and what exactly the error message is. So this is what the error message which we got from that action, and here we have that instance of that workflow to troubleshoot. So if you click on this, this will directly open that particular instance in which the error has occurred, okay, over here. So we have triggered one email, and as well as we have logging this into this issue list as well. So we are logging the same details over here. So we have created one issue list and we have all the details over here, where like what is the workflow name, error handling is my workflow name, what is the error, the failed is the error, status code is not found, what is the action name is get item, what is the error, this is the error message. And we have this run instance, workflow instance as well, where the user can click and open it. So all these details like error status and everything is coming from the workflow action which got errored out over here. So all the details we are capturing from this particular action. So if you see over here, so all these details, all the error output which we got over here is coming out from this get item action. So let's go and build out this particular workflow. We'll add one instant cloud flow. We'll name it as error handling. It will be a manually trigger workflow. Now we'll add all the three blocks. First one will be the try block. Second one will be the catch block. And the last and the final one will be the final block. So, so in try block, all your main actions related to the workflow should go inside this. In the catch block, all the actions related to catching the error should go inside this. And inside the final block, this is the optional block. If you want to run any actions, irrespective of the error in your flow, then that should go inside this. This is optional. So we have all the three blocks: try, catch, and final. So if you click on this ellipsis of the catch block, this is the configure run after. There's only one option is enabled right now. We need to uncheck that, and we need to check all the three other options. So the meaning of this is like, if any of the action present inside the try block has failed or skipped or timed out for any reason, then go and run this catch block. Okay, now let's go with the final block. Click on configure run after, and inside this we need to check all the options, like irrespective, as I said, like irrespective of the actions, like whether it's failing or whether it's skipping or timeout, whether it's got successful, we have to run this particular block. So we are done with the configuration for both these blocks, catch and final. Now we'll add one action inside the try block. We'll simply try to get one item. We'll add a get item action from the SharePoint list. We'll select the site address, which select the name. List name will be the list one, and we're just trying to fetch the item with ID 1. But in the list, there is no item present inside this. So this will throw out an error. So this particular error we need to capture inside a catch block. Okay. So to capture that, I'll just take a compose action, and to capture all the output from all the action present inside this try block. Okay. So we need to add one expression called result, and input of this will be the name of the above block. That means the name of this block, that is try, and like this. Now we'll run this and we'll see the output of it. For now, we have saved this workflow, and let's run this. Yeah, the flow ran successfully. If you can see over here, this particular action thrown error, it says like an action failed, no dependent action succeeded. So if you open this, so there's some output like status 4 not 4, messages item not found. Okay, so same output with some extra details should be present or should be captured inside a catch block. So see, there is an error because of which this particular catch block has run. And if you see the output, let me just grab all the details. So if you see this, this is what the output which we got from the above action. So if you see this, let me just collapse it. Yeah. So this is what the output we got from the above action. Since there is only one action present in the final block, So we have only one object present. Let's say 10 actions present in your try block, then that will be a 10 object present inside this array. Okay. So since there is only one action present, so we got the output of only one action right now. So if you see this, we have some important attributes present over here, the important data. The first one is the name. Name shows the name of the action. Okay, this is the name of the action. Here is the status. Sorry, here is the code. Code is not found. That means for this particular action, the code is not found, and the status is failed. So inside output, if you see, there are many more details, and inside output only we got this body part, and where we have a status as well as the message. Okay, and the message says like item not found. Okay, now we need to grab few details from this JSON. Okay, like for example, the which what is the action name, the code as the status, and the message. Okay, this is the most important part. Will fetch the message. So this four attributes which we are going to get from this. Let's add one more action inside this try block, and we'll see the output of this compose action. Let's initialize one variable over here. Array variable will initialize. Yeah. Okay. And we'll set that variable inside this try block. Now we have a two action inside this try block. We'll run this, and we'll see the output of the action, compose action. Flow ran successfully. Let's grab this detail. Let's put it over here. Yeah. So if you see this, yeah. So now if you see, let me collapse this. Yeah. So if you see, we got the two objects now inside an array. This is the first object and this is the second object. Okay. So earlier we got only one object since there was only one action, but this time we got two objects. You can see the name for the first action was get item, and the second action was set variable. So if you have 10 actions present inside the try block, then you will get to see the output of all the 10 actions in the form of objects inside this array. So in this JSON, we need to focus on only that object which has thrown an error. Like for example, in the first object, the status is failed. That means this get item action has thrown an error. But if you look at the second object, the set variable, it has simply skipped. So we don't want the detail for this particular action. We only want the details for the first action which got failed. We'll see how we can get the details of the failed action. So we'll go to our workflow. So for this, we'll add a filter action. Inside this filter action, the output will be the same thing which we have provided over here. So we'll provide the output for this. We don't require this compose action anymore, as I have included it is just to show you the output of the actions which are coming from the try block. So we can simply delete that. Now, so in the filter, if you can see, we need to add a filter. So let's go back to our JSON one more time, and if you see, we need to filter based on the status, because if you see the status, it's different. So we need to focus on the action whose status is either failed or timed out. So let's go and add that filter. So to add the filter, we need to add an item. Okay. I need to focus on this status. Now the status is equal to failed. Okay. Yeah. Now we need to add one more action. Just click on the advanced mode. Just copy this. Simply let me just formulate the expression inside the notepad here. So the formula should be at the rate of, like, either the status should be failed, or let me grab this again, or timed out. Okay, either the status should be failed or timed out. So this is the expression. Just copy this and paste it here. Okay, now we are done with the filter. Now we'll save this workflow and we'll see the output of this filter array. Okay, now we are getting only one object inside this array. Okay, earlier we got a two object, but we have added a filter and we are saying like we want the object whose status is either failed or timed out. Okay, so in this case we'll get to see only one object inside this array. Now it becomes a bit easier to grab the details from this object. Well, let's go and see how we can do that. Now we'll grab the details like name, a code, and the status first. Let's go to a flow. Let's add the compose actions. Action name. Okay, and the expression would be yeah, body. Let's grab this body first. This is the body from the filter array. Let's grab this body. Go to the notepad. Just remove the spaces and the at the rate. Yeah. Now, okay. So if you see this JSON, if you analyze it, we got all the details inside this object. This object is present at the 0th position inside this array. So we need to access this object first. For that, add a question mark and this add a 0. So we have now accessed the 0th position, and now from here we can access all the details. Like we want name, let's add a name. Yep, we got this name. Let's copy this. Okay, we want the name, we want the code, okay, and we want the status. Now we got all the three details over here, and we'll add this into our workflow. This is the action theme. Go to your expression, put this expression inside that, and here's you got your action name, and likewise let's add compose, two more compose for the code and the status. Let's grab this, put it here. Now we got the action name, error code, as well as the error status. Now we need to get the exact error message, and we can get that inside the output. If you can see, we have a body. Inside a body we have a message, so we can grab that. But before doing that, Let me show you one thing. So this error message, I mean this error object, we got it from the get item action. Okay, but what will happen if we get an error from some other action? Let's go and see that. So let me do some modification in my existing array. Let me add some elements. Okay, I got three elements at position 0, 1 and 2, and let me try to access the element from the above array. So for that, let me add one more variable over here. Test variable, and this will be an integer. Okay, now I'll try to set this test variable inside this. And I'll try to access one of the element from this array variable, inside which you can see there's an integer element present. So there are the element present at 0 position, first position and the second position, but I'll try to access the position, access the element present at the third position, which is not there. Okay, then in that case it should throw an error. So let me just do that. So test, no, not this one, array variable. Let's grab this, put it into your notepad, places. That's our question mark, and try to access the element at the third position. Okay, but there is no element present at the third position. We have an element present from 0 to second position. Let's add this expression, and let's put this expression at the top. Now this action should throw an error, and this particular get item action should be skipped. Let's save it and run this. So if you can see, flow ran successfully. Now if you open the try block, you can see there's an error at the set variable. If you open this, it returns it the error message is the variable test var of type integer cannot be set to null or type or empty value. Okay, so now if we analyze the filter array output this time, so this was the earlier output of that filter array, where the error was throwing from this particular action, but this time the error is throwing from this particular set variable action. Okay, if we compare both the JSON, we will come to know the differences. Let me copy this one and paste it below. So this was the output which we got when get item action was throwing error, and below output we got when set variable action is throwing error. Okay, but if you compare it closely, if you see, we have input as well as output attribute present in get item action, but which is absent in below output. Whereas in set variable action output, if you see, there's an error attribute which is present, but that is absent in the get item action output. Okay, and if you see the message, the error message is present inside the error attribute for set variable action, and for get item action, that error message is present inside body, inside the output. Since the location of the error message is not consistent, so it becomes difficult to grab the error message. Now we'll see how we can, in such situation, what we can do and how we can grab the error message. So let's go on to our workflow. So in this case, what we will do is we will convert that entire JSON into a string, and we will splitting that message based on that message attribute. We'll see over here. So let's convert the entire JSON into a string. So input of this function will be the output of the filter array. Let's search it. Yeah, it's over here. Let's rename this. Now let's check the output of this compose action. Let me run this workflow. Grab this compose output. Now if you see our entire JSON is converted into string. Now it becomes easier to split this entire string based on this message attribute. If you can see over here, in that case, the entire string will be divided into two parts. Everything before message will be our first element, and everything after message attribute will be our second element. Now let's go and do that. Let's add one more compose action for the message part. Let's rename this. Now we take the output of this convert JSON to string compose. Okay, copy this and paste it into Notepad. Now what we have to do is our entire JSON string is present inside this compose output. Now we need to split this compose output, okay, based on the message attribute as we have seen over here. So let's grab this message attribute along with the double quotes and this colon. Let me add the split function. Okay. Now we need to split it based on this particular message attribute. So we'll be taking these double quotes. Inside the double quotes there will be a message text, and after that we'll have a single colon. Now let's go and run this expression and we'll see the output of this. Remove this part and paste it. Yeah. Let me run this workflow one more time and we'll see the output. Okay. Now if you see, let me grab this part and paste it below. Yeah. If you see this, the entire string is divided into two parts. This is the first part and this is the second part, if you can see. And in the second part we have our message, right? The variable test variable of integer cannot be set to null. So let's grab this part as well. So we need to do some modification in our existing function only. So if you can see, a message is present at the first position in the array. So we'll access that first position. But if you see, in the position one, along with the message, there are some extra characters as well, like the closing curly bracket and the closing square bracket as well. So we don't want this characters in our message, so we'll be splitting based on this curly bracket as well. So let's go here and we'll add one more split. Okay, and this time we'll split it based on the first curly bracket. You can see over here, this one. Okay. Now I think we are almost done with this expression part. Now we'll add this and run this workflow, and we'll see the output of this expression. We'll replace this expression with our latest one. We'll run this workflow. Now this time, if you see the output, we'll check the output. There are three elements present inside this particular array, but we need to focus on the element which is at the 0th position. So let's try to access that message part. So we'll do some modification and try to access the element at the 0th position. Now this expression is completed, and using this expression we get the exact error message. Copy this expression and update it in your flow. Now we are done with the error message part. Now there's one more important parameter which we want to grab, is the instance URL. So for that, what you can do is you can go to any one of your flow. I'll take it like this, test flow 1, and open the any instance okay, of that flow. So I'll open that and grab the instance URL. I'll copy this part and I'll paste it over here. Okay, now if you analyze this particular URL, you can see there are a few important parameters which are present inside this URL. The first one is your environment ID or environment name, you can say. So whatever is present after environment forward slash is your environment name, and after flows, you here the whatever GUID you can see is your flow name, and at the end the GUID which is present is your run instance. Okay, so these three parameter we need to grab, and how we can do that is using the workflow expression which is present in your flow. So for that, let's take one more compose action. Inside this, let's rename it first. Workflow details. And search for workflow. If you can see, we have this workflow expression, and just put it inside this. Now if you let me run this workflow, and I'll show you the output of this particular compose action. This workflow function will give you all the details of your workflow. So this is the output. Let me copy this part and we'll paste it over here. Okay, at the bottom. Now if you closely observe this one, you can see all the important parameters are there, like the ID, name, type, location. And from this, we want the three important parameters. One is the environment name, and that you can get it from here. Here you can see there is a parameter called environment name. So this is your environment name, which you can get it. And the next one is your flow name, that you can get over here. The logic app name is nothing but your flow name, that you can replace this with this GUID. And the last one is your run instance name, basically, and that you can get inside this run. If you can see inside this run attribute, there is a name, so you can get the run instance name from here. So all the three parameters required for creating the run instance are present over here. Now let's go and create that. So to create the run instance URL, we'll take one more compose action. Okay, over here. Now what we can do is we can get this, we can grab the same URL. Okay, over here, let me just paste it over here. Okay, now we'll remove this part, the constant part from you, all the GUIDs. Now what you can do is let's take the output of the workflow details, copy this part and paste it over here. Okay, remove the braces. Okay, now the first parameter which you want is the environment name. And if you check this particular output here, environment name is present inside the tag. Okay, so what we can do is, inside what we can do, we can add a tags. Okay, and inside this tag we will get a environment name. Just copy this part and paste it over here. Okay, this is how you can get the environment name parameter. In the same way, we can get the flow name as well, the logic app name basically. Yeah. So we got the environment name as well as the flow name. Now we can get the instance name as well. So copy this part. Okay, so instance name we can get it inside run. Inside run we have a name attribute present. So let's grab this part. So we got all the three parameters. Okay, now what we can do is, let's copy this part over here in the flow. Okay, now after environment we need to copy all the expressions one by one. So after environment you can get the environment name, place your cursor after environment, come here in the expression and paste it. Okay, now you need to paste your flow name, come to your flow, so flow part, and go to your expression and paste your expression over there. And then at the end we want the instance name. Copy this part, come to the end of the URL and paste it over here. Yeah, so now we got the instance URL as well. So we'll save this and we'll check the output of this compose action. Okay, let me copy this part. Our instance URL is working fine, and we have grabbed all the important details which is required to log the error. Now what we can do is, we can send out one email notification and we can log these error details into the list. Now let's just go and do that. I have added send an email action to send out the email notification to the required user with the required error details, and the create an item action to log the error details into the issue list. If you can see over here, I have provided all the required details in the email we have captured so far, like error code, error action, error message, and the instance. And there's one more extra attribute which we have provided over is the display, flow display name, and that we can get it from the object which we have used to capture the environment name as well as the logic app name. In the same object you can get the flow display name as well. So from here you can get the flow name, and the same details I have captured in the issue list as well. Now we'll run this workflow and we'll see the output. Our flow ran successfully. We'll check the email. We got this email with the required details, if you can see over here, and here we got the instance as well. If you click on this will open that particular instance on which your workflow ran or workflow has thrown error. So here we got, which is working fine. And if you check the issue list, okay, let me refresh this. Yeah, so we got this data in the issue list as well. If you can see, there's a workflow name, what is the error, this is the error status, on this particular action the error has occurred, and this is the detailed error message, and this is the workflow instance over here. So our details are capturing properly into the list as well as into the email body. Now this time we'll remove that error action and we'll try to run this workflow normally. Let me delete this other action, get item, and in the set variable, we'll add some test value here. Let me Yeah, if you can see, now there is no error in the try block, and because of which this catch block is skipped. No action inside this catch block as well. If you can see, there's a skipped written over here. But in any case, if you can see the final block will run. So here I have completed with this error handling in Power Automate. Hope you like this video. If you find it useful, then don't forget to hit the like button and share it with your friends. If you have any question or suggestion, then please do comment. We'll meet you in next video. Till then, goodbye.